Baruch Dayan HaEmet. We praise the Judge of Truth. Erica asked that this prayer from the Yom Kippur Memorial Service be included. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or a youth or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others, could the answer be in doubt? We shall not fear the summons of death. We shall remember those who have gone before us and those who will come after us. Alas for those who cannot sing, but die with all their music in them. Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. Help us, Lord, to fulfill the promise that is in each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that generations hence it will be true to say of us, the world is better because for a brief space they lived in it. We gather to pay profound respects to Richard Gold and his family. And so together let us recite in English the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's been a long day already, as we sorrowfully anticipated this afternoon. We gather to fulfill the solemn obligation of paying our respects to the memory of our dearly departed Richard Gold, Ruvain ben Moshe Halevi. Dick breathed his last early Yom Kippur morning during Yamim HaNoraim, during the days of awe. The gates of blessing and prayer were open wide for Almighty God to receive his soul. We are saddened, profoundly saddened, while at the same time we are grateful for the blessing he passed quickly. Naturally, we would have hoped for more time with him, much more time. However, not so much more time that we and he would have witnessed a slow, extended deterioration. Dick didn't want that. Neither did we. He graced this earth for 87 and a half years. He would want us to appropriately grieve. Dick would also say, look, I lived a good life. Make the best of this. In other words, we are here to solemnly celebrate his life and deeds. Shimon Bar Yochai, the charismatic 2nd century mystic and Talmud authority, reputed to be the author of the Zohar, left instructions that his death be memorialized joyfully And so to this day, Lag Bomer, the day of Bar Yochai's death, is a joyful celebration of his life. Today, let us do the same. Joyfully celebrate Richard Gold's life, even in the sadness that has fallen on his family and upon us all. This assembly of friends and loved ones is a comfort and a support to the sorrowing family. Dick, as you know, was loving, a devoted husband and father, a proud Jew and Zionist, a learned man in many, many areas, a fantastic friend. He was extremely bright. He was a mensch. He was a good, decent person. With Dick's passing on Yom Kippur, there's a teaching in Tractate Yoma that comes to mind. When the temple stood in Jerusalem on Yom Kippur, the high priest would enter into the Holy of Holies and offer prayers on behalf of himself, his family, and the household of Israel. The assembled Israelites waited for him to return to them. Afterwards, he would enter into the presence of the assembly and read a brief section from the Torah. Then he would conclude with these words, "Far more than I have read to you is written therein." And so it is this day. Far more than we can ever describe in words is our dearly departed Richard Gold. The love you feel for him, you express by your spoken and unspoken remembrances of him. All of you by your presence, your heart, your mind, your laughter, your tears, are extolling his virtues and his qualities. We are poorer for his loss, and we are richer for the wealth of memories he has bequeathed to us. Dick was born here in Cleveland, December 10th, 1930, to Melvin and Edith Gold, both of blessed memory. He is survived by his younger sister, Laura, who is in Atlanta, unable to attend because her husband, Tom, is awaiting hip surgery, and at the age of 87, you don't mess with that. So 2 children were born to Melvin and Edith, Richard and Laura, Laura's husband, Tom. Dick also has a nephew, Michael, his wife, Barb, and 2 nieces, Judy and Susie. Laura said of her brother, Richard had a very successful family life, a wonderful life, children and grandchildren. It is such a blessing that they all live together in the same city in Cleveland. Growing up, we lived in a poor section on the west side. Our father had a pharmacy. One day, Richard was given the responsibility of picking me up from swim lessons at the YMCA, and it was a 2-streetcar ride. Well, he always loved walking and hiking, and he decided that we should walk home. It was about 50 city blocks. I was about 7 years old, and when we got home, I had never seen our mother so angry. It took us so long. She had already called the police because she was so worried about us. And Laura said, I didn't like walking that far either. At West 30th and Lorraine, there were 3 Jews in the school system. Dick and Laura were 2 of them. He graduated Lincoln High School, the Ohio State University, and then went to University of Texas for graduate work in microbiology. Obviously a bright and a serious student. When Dick went into the Army, 1955 through 1957, Uncle Sam had him doing microbiology work also. In 1954, when Dick was preparing to go into the Army, he was at home and he answered the phone. On the other end of the phone was a female voice. It was Erica Taubner. Erica was in classes with Laura, specifically chemistry and biology. Erica was good in biology, but needed help in chemistry. Erica said, I called Laura to help me, but she wasn't home, so Dick answered the phone, and he said, I can help you with chemistry. So he came over to the apartment to help me. The rest is history. Good chemistry, apparently. We dated for a month, and then, listen carefully, before he went to the Army, we got engaged after 1 month. We wrote letters to each other every day. Rabbi Brickner married us on July 1st, 1956, at the Alcazar Hotel. They shared a loving and devoted marriage of more than 62 years, a testimonial to the commitments of holy matrimony through thick and thin, through the long of it and the short of it, the tall of it and the short of it, through sickness and health. The blessings of family have been abundant. 2 children, 4 grandchildren. Marilyn, her husband Joel, Alan, his wife Denise. Grandchildren, Stuart, married to Leah, Sarah, married to Ben, Daniel, and Natanya, Jazzy or Jacqueline. Got all 3 names for you. Marilyn shared the following. On Yom Kippur, when I realized we were now planning my father's funeral, I asked my children to submit memories they wished to be acknowledged today. Their comments included his camera, of course. It was always present, like an extra appendage. Sarah remembered driving by the house, seeing him lying on the grass, taking pictures of a bug, and some people would go by and see him doing this. They thought he was dead, laying on the grass. And it's lovely weather today, just beautiful. She continued, I remember Aunt Nancy and Uncle Jimmy once seeing him doing the same while coming across him on a walk in the park. Sarah said she recalled the time in Hungary we had to walk away from him as he waited for the sun to be just in the right spot for a particular photo. Stuart commented how upset Grandpa Dick was when he had to submit his film through the X-ray machines at airports. Daniel actually enjoyed the slideshows that Grandpa Dick would show. Many, many, many slideshows over the years. Daniel credits these times as spurring his interest in photography. Marilyn said, those times often frustrated me, but I'm comforted by the fact that my children look back at them as their fond memories. Stuart recalled the times picking pears and raspberries with him in their yard. He did add that Stuart said that Grandpa Dick relegated him to sit in the car, keeping his hands on his knees after some altercation with Sarah, his sister. But, we know how siblings are. Sarah said that was the only time she remembers Grandpa Dick ever getting mad. And Marilyn said, I chuckled at the flashbacks of moments when the kids were much younger and able to spend time with him, but recognizing there was only one incident when he got upset. My children remember their grandfather as a comfort and a kind and caring man. That's what is important in addition to the whole now in their hearts, realizing as we continue with life experiences that Grandpa Dick will not be part of those memories. We will merely be able to comment, oh, Grandpa Dick would have liked this, or Grandpa Dick would have liked that. Joel describes my father as a man comfortable in his own skin, which is a true statement and a very wonderful attribute. My father was a good man. He loved his family foremost above all else. There's absolutely nothing he would not do for anyone other than carry a cell phone, use a computer, or embrace digital photography. He was a generous man, and this was not limited to family members. If you needed a ride or a photo taken or any other favor that did not involve technology, he was up for the deed. More times than not, he would ask to help before anyone had the chance to request his assistance. And yes, his skill at reaching things, most anything, from almost any level, will surely be missed by the family. His Judaism was extremely important to him. He often told stories of his youth on the West Side in connection with his religious beliefs. We are also happy he's been able to realize his desire to visit Israel this past winter on the Temple Israel Ner Tamid congregational trip. It was a wonderful trip. He also enjoyed his tennis games with Marvin Miller and hikes in parks with anyone or everyone. Some of my fondest thoughts and memories include 3-week family vacations in the non-air-conditioned car with the windows open on the freeway. To this day, I still enjoy a good breeze, Marilyn said. I remember keeping a scrapbook in our own handwriting and picking out postcards while on these vacations. And I'm still a huge fan of vacation postcards. I remember fondly how he explained to me mental illness as a young child. He explained it as an illness in the brain. Someone thinks similar to physical illness. And so, when I would see someone with mental illness, there was no stigma. The brain just works a little differently. Illness in the brain. He worked as a microbiologist very hard and for many hours. One weekend day, he had to go into the lab to read some petri dishes, and he let me go with him. I sat on a twirly chair at the lab table with an entire notepad and a red grease pencil, and I drew pages and pages of germs. I was being a scientist. He was old-fashioned, was not the most fashionable. He told very detailed, very long stories, but I guess most importantly, he was there for us and he was there with us. He was always there for us. And Marilyn concluded, thank you all for your support today and in the days to come. Dick and Erica were members of Temple Israel Ner Tamid for more than 20 years, and they've been regulars and good friends of many, many people, including Rabbi Fred and Helen. And they were supposed to go to supper. The day after Yom Kippur, Rabbi Fred said, Dick owes me a supper now in Olam Haba, when I get there. Olam Haba is the world to come. Dick was a helpful man. For several years, every Friday morning, he took bread that we picked up at Panera that was unsliced, and he would take it to Jack's Deli, where they would slice it for us so that we would then make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on Friday nights with that bread. We make PB&J sandwiches every Friday night at the Oneg Shabbat, and then he was an integral part of that, helping us get those sandwiches down to the homeless in the city of Cleveland. Been doing that for about 10 years. In 2005, Dick came and volunteered on our Hurricane Katrina relief trucks. Erica has been like the Energizer Bunny, and she's encouraged Dick to keep moving, keep going places. However, there's been deterioration recently. And he did not attend Erev Rosh Hashanah services with Erica. However, since we had him slated to read Rosh Hashanah morning, he got up, he put on his suit, and they came to shul and helped us pray. Erica said he fired me a couple of days ago. 2 days ago, he fired me because I was nagging him too much. You should continue to nag him. On Yom Kippur, Dick Gold breathed his last, and there's no more pain or deterioration. There's just rest and wholeness and peace. Just as Shabbat is a time of rest, so too Dick is at rest and at peace. His soul is returning to God to be with the souls of his dear ancestors, relatives, friends. We learn this in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. One day all of us will join our loved ones in Olam Haba, the world to come. It's not a place, it's a spiritual existence. It's an eternal time when you will be together again with your dear loved ones. We have sent along a couple of prayer books, Machzorim, High Holy Days prayer books with him in the casket. Not only is it a mitzvah to lay the body of loved one to rest, but also to provide respectful burial for holy books of our tradition. We are filled to overflowing with thoughts of Richard Gold, Reuven ben Moshe Halevi. And we give thanks to God for this gift of life, this gift of long life, although we are still terribly struck by his death. As you think of Richard, pull out a camera, maybe even with some film, if you can get it developed anyplace. Go for a walk. Preferably take a family member for a good long walk. Tell some stories, long, detailed stories. Go to shul, go to synagogue, become a regular of whichever congregation you go to. Find some time to go to share a meal with friends. Help your congregation or help others with tzedakah. There are so many ways to remember him and pay honor to his memory. And so we say with tears in our eyes, Adonai latan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen.
Oh, say shalom bimrama, Uya say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, bimru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
May God, who causes peace to reign on the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, all Israel, and upon the soul of our dearly departed Richard Gold. And let us say Amen. Amen. Please rise for El Malei Rachamim. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of Richard Gold, Reuven ben Moshe Halevi. For you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen b'maramim, Hamseh menucha nechana, Tachat kanfei hashechina, Im kedushim utorim, Kezohar hariki hamasirim, Et nishmat Reuven ben Moshe Halevi, sheholcha leolamo, b'yol harachamim, yastireu b'seitek rafav leolamim, b'tzror hachayim, et nishmato hachayim, et nishmato Adonai hu necha על משכבו ונאמר אמן.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Richard Gold, Ruvain ben Moshe Halevi. He has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Amen. Dick told Erica there would be 6 people at his funeral. So he was off just a little. But that's probably a very long and detailed story. Would just like to indicate to you that if you're not going to the grave with us at Mount Olive, it's a slow-moving train with this many people and the age of this many people. I imagine we'll be back at Temple Israel Ner Tamid about 5:30, maybe a little bit earlier if you're not coming to the grave with us and you want to meet us for the Nash, because the food is always good, and the Shiva. And the family has asked if you wish to make a donation in Richard's loving memory, of course, it would be very much appreciated. Please consider the first among the places Magen David Adom and Temple Israel Ner Tamid, and other places as well. There are many, many fine organizations. This will conclude our service here, portion here at the funeral home, and the gentleman will come forward and give us instructions for the procession to Mount Olive Cemetery.